All right, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back here to another episode of the Easy Money Sports Podcast. Of course, me and myself, as always, Sanders here. And of course, I got my guy Dupree here with me.
What's up? What's going on?
Man, just taking it one day at a time, bro. Golly, I feel like the month November. It felt like it just got here, bro. And it's Thanksgiving next week.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
time to eat
It's
good.
time to eat good. Hey, man, before Christmas knocking on the door, bro. The year finna be over with. It's just, bro. Time's just flying, bro. Time's just flying, bro. For sure, man. We got uh, a lot to discuss here on this episode. Getting down to the end, the last 2 weeks of the regular season for college football. Man, college basketball starting up. It's well on its way, kicking into gear. The NBA trucking along. NFL getting into close to now the tail end of the season too. So now a lot of things is starting to take shape in the form, and we know who our true MVP candidates are, who coach of the year, all that stuff like that. That's now those conversations starting to play. Man, the playoff picture starting to shape up here soon too. Man, so a lot going on, and of course when you talk about the teams that's winning, that's looking good, that's in contention for playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
you got the other side of teams where, the season probably ended for them 2 weeks ago. They know it's nowhere near a chance for them to do anything, and now they already looking on to 2025 to see what they can do to improve their teams. And some changes end up, happening, man. The biggest thing that's happened so far, the New York Giants ended up benching quarterback Daniel Jones, who was drafted in that, I believe that 2019 class of quarterbacks in that 2019 draft. Um, not not the best record of sorts, man. Bench now down to, I believe he's quarterback either 3 or 4. Now overall record 24, 44, and 1. Obviously as a starter, not the best record. Had that 1 year where they went to the playoffs. Got a playoff win against the Vikings that year. But outside of that, man, not much. The Giants ended up choosing between him and Saquon Barkley, and the Giants chose Daniel Jones, gave him that big contract. Um, he was due $30 million next year, and I think a little over 45 plus the $46 million the year after that. But none of his money on his contract now is guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much, I think he had like some type of injury clause. If he got hurt, they would have to pay him that $30 million for next year. So obviously, the benching not only comes due from performance. At the end of the day, it's all about the money, and they was like, "We not paying this dude." And obviously, that last game that we saw from the New York Giants, we figured that was his last snap as a starter, and probably even on the team for the New York Giants. Uh, can't say that we didn't see it coming, but I guess in a way, like, man, how do you feel about it? Do you feel sorry for the Giants, or you just kind of like everybody else, man? Like, we told you so, and you decided to choose him over Saquon Barkley, who's now running roughshod with your division rivals, doing backwards hurdles over people, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if you seen, bro. They got it on Madden now.
They got it on Madden now?
Yeah, they put the animation on Madden.
Whoa.
Put the
That's
anima-
crazy.
uh, they blew it. I mean, you want to sign your quarterback, like if you believe you have your quarterback, you want to sign him, and I don't believe that Daniel Jones should have been the guy that they signed, as far as like believing that that's your quarterback of the future. But when it comes to whether you should have paid Saquon or Daniel Jones, you definitely should have paid Saquon. I don't know what numbers they were looking at. I don't know what projections, or I don't know what. I just don't know what they were looking at. But when you look at the times when Saquon was in the lineup versus when he was not in the lineup, you can see the the drop off. It was a major drop off production on the offensive side of football when Saquon Barkley was not on the field for the New York Giants. And Saquon wanted to stay in New York. He wanted to stay. He wanted to win in New York. He said that before. That's been on record that he wanted to be in New York, and they decided not to sign him. Did I see him getting benched at the beginning of the season? Did I see him getting benched? No. But if you look over the last 5 games, 64% completion percentage. He's thrown for 932 yards, but average of 5 yards in the attempt, and he's thrown 2 touchdowns and 4 picks. He lost, and I mean he played some tight games. He lost to Cincinnati 17-7. He lost to the Eagles, 28-3. Lost to the Steelers, who are a good football team. You lost to them by 8 points, but you threw a pick in that game. Against Philly, you didn't throw a touchdown. You threw for 99 yards on 14 of 21 passing. And then you go over to Munich and you lose in overtime to the Panthers. You throw 2 picks in that game in a 20-17 ball game. So right now, obviously, it looks like that decision to, when you look at it, it's like, should I pay Saquon or should I pay Daniel Jones? Obviously, I think everybody knew what you should have did. You should have paid Saquon. And right now, you're seeing that they made the wrong decision. They should have signed Saquon Barkley. Um, and they have to pay for it right now. So it's tough, but when you make decisions like that, you gotta live with it. And right now they're having to live with it. They paid them that money. Now, luckily, like you said, it's not guaranteed, but you're still on the docket for that stuff. You're still on the books for that money. So um, it's tough to be a New York Football Giant right now. Tough to be a Giant right now. So
Yeah, it's super tough just because now you're hearing stories, and I don't know if you've seen it, but now you're kind of hearing reports about there's a few players on the team that really wasn't happy about him getting benched. I mean, granted, it makes sense because it's the record is a team record.
mm-hmm,
If you're 2-8, it's not just because you have a bad quarterback. It's a lot of things that's bad. Probably a bad offensive line, a bad defense, maybe no good enough receivers, or trying to replace a guy who is your all-purpose guy. In Saquon Barkley, it's a lot in that does factor into it. But I also think it's the nature of the beast, right? When you play the quarterback position, when you're winning and everything is going good, you're gonna get all the praise, all the credit for it. When you're losing, you're probably outside of the coach. You're the next one to get the heaviest of the blame, just because the amount of money they pay you, what they expect
yeah,
for you to do, is just. Is it fair? Probably not.
mm-hmm,
But once again, it's the nature of the beast. I don't want to say in a way it's what they signed up for, but it's just the way that it works now
mm-hmm,
in this day and age in the NFL, that they're going to pay the quarterback the most money. They're going to want him to be able to do this and do that. Um, I mean, it was a head scratcher anyway when they first drafted him anyway, but they thought they could make it work. Um, they paid him what they paid him. It is what it is. The market is like that for the quarterbacks. I mean, what can you do about that? Can you fault them? Um, Maybe not. And yes, it's a team record, but at the end of the day, you name some of the scores, right? It was some close games, close score games, and then if you're only scoring 3 points, that's an offensive thing. Only scoring 7 points, that's an offensive thing. So it's like I can see where some of the players may be coming from, if that's even true reports. I don't even, who knows. It's just a report. Who knows if it's even true or not? But I guess I can see where some of the players are coming from on it. But at the same time, yeah, it may not be all on him, the reason why they're losing. But I mean, if you're only scoring 7 points, only scoring 3 points, that's the offensive side of the ball. He's the leader on that side, so you gotta take the good with the bad, man. So interesting to see, what Giants 2-8. I believe they're on a bye this week. I don't believe they play. second worst record behind Jacksonville. So they're in the, I guess you can say the Shedeur Sanders sweepstakes. Maybe it's looking like
They
that.
play Tampa on
Oh, so
Sunday.
they play today. So it's, they play this week Tampa. So they might already had a bye week. I'm getting it confused with a few teams, but so they got Tampa this week. So we'll see. And they decided to go with Tommy DeVito instead of Drew Lock. So to me, that sounds like that they just trying to put butts in the stands because they know the phenomenon he had for a few games last year. So it is what it is, man. But we'll leave the bottom cellular teams alone. Now we'll talk about what's going on here in the NFL as we get into week 12. So wrapping up, getting close to the end of the season. So now the playoff race is getting crazy. Some of these division races are super tight.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just it's a lot, right? So I mean, if you look over in the AFC right now, it's looking like it's a battle for who can be the top seed. Kansas City no longer undefeated after losing to Buffalo last week, so they sit at 9-1. Buffalo right there, right under them, that half game back at 9-2. The Pittsburgh Steelers once again, death taxes and Mike Tomlin to find a way to win with this roster. Even though it's not a bad roster, you
Mm-mm.
didn't expect this, you know. But them sitting at 8-2, of course, Houston leading the South like we all expected. I think the surprises are obviously the Chargers already improving so much with Coach Harbaugh in year one, and the Denver Broncos 6-5. Sean Payton leading the way with a rookie quarterback, Bo Nix. They're in the thick of, and of course the Baltimore Ravens. So that's over on the AFC side. And then in the NFC, it's looking like, as the shirt would say, Detroit versus everybody. Um, they out there a BTA on a few teams, man. They just it's almost looking like you playing your little brother in Madden, and
Bro, it's
they
just,
building character out there. It's
there's
getting
no mercy.
crazy.
No mercy.
No, yeah, for real, for real. I mean, and then of course Philly doing their thing, kind of rebounding. I mean,
Mm.
some at times they've started out 2-2, but they've won 6 in a row now, so they on a nice little winning streak. Um, Of course, the surprise team, the Minnesota Vikings, sitting up in there right there behind them at 8-2. Green Bay doing their thing. Washington sitting up there at 7-4, right there in the thick of it. Atlanta right there in the fourth spot, holding down the NFC South, but it's still kind of tight there as well. And then the whole NFC West, I mean,
Dude,
separated literally by one game. The Cardinals sitting at 6-4, and everybody else is 5-5. So they beating up on each other, and it's crazy. The fact that you look at it, in San Francisco is nowhere near in that playoff picture right now after so many years of winning the West, getting close, going to numerous NFC Championship games and everything like that. What's sticking out to you the most right now for the full playoff picture on both sides of the conferences?
well, I'll start with the NFC, man. It is that the NFC West. The injuries have killed San Francisco. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what derailed their season so far, man. It's just they can't stay healthy, and they have dealt with injuries before. You know, there have been moments, and even last season where you had Trent Williams was out, Debo was out. You had multiple guys being out at certain points throughout the season. I mean, now it's on both sides of the ball. Like you got guys being hurt on both sides of the football. Christian McCaffrey didn't play for the first 7, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, whatever it was. Like so, like you got them with Cooper Cup and Puka Nakua coming back for the Rams. They seem like they're kind of getting things back on track and kind of finding their groove. I thought Seattle was going to take off and just run with it the way they were playing on offense, but their defense they've had questions. Um, can they really run the football effectively when they need to? And the Cardinals have I would have never expected the Cardinals to be sitting at the top of that division. Granted, like you said, it's only they're only a game ahead of everybody else in that division, but the fact that they're even leading the division right now, you're talking 12 weeks into the season. I would have never thought that they would be sitting in that position right now. So in the NFC, that's what got me intrigued. On top of, and I mean, the next best division in that, well, the best division, at least in the NFC, it might be in football, is the NFC North right now between
Right.
Detroit, Minnesota, and Green Bay. So seeing how all that shakes out too, and then the AFC, it is just how top heavy. I mean, I can legit say there's four, maybe five that could win that side. And I get it, Kansas City, like they just lost, they were just undefeated, but and we've seen Kansas City lose to Buffalo before in the regular season. We've seen that happen before. But you look at Buffalo and how they're playing, obviously Kansas City. You look at the Steelers right now, and I would be wrong if I did not admit like they are one of the better teams in the AFC right now. Like they found something with Russell Wilson. And that defense is, I mean, that defense has been good for the last couple of years. They just haven't had the offense to complement that. And when you add in Russell Wilson as your quarterback, that's taking them to a whole nother level. Um, I'll throw in Baltimore in there as well because they're right there. We know what's going on with that. And then Houston. I mean, Houston's not out of it. They get a couple of their guys back. Nico Collins comes back and some of those things, and they're going to be right there again. So just how top heavy the AFC is with those four teams. I mean, you mentioned the Chargers. Who knows? Like, can they make some noise? Can Justin Herbert finally be able to get into the playoffs and we can see what he can do in the playoffs? Um, that conference AFC is shaping up to be it's going to be a real tight race because now I don't think Kansas City is going to end with just one loss. They won't get through the regular season with just one loss. They'll lose a couple more games. It's can Buffalo stay the course? Can the Pittsburgh Steelers can they stay tight with them? If Baltimore get back to what they were doing, they've lost a couple here the last couple weeks. Can they get back on track? So that AFC race for the number one seed, like you said, going through you. They don't want to have to go through Arrowhead. None of those teams want to have to go to Arrowhead to get to the Super Bowl. So can one of those other squads, can Baltimore, can Buffalo, can Houston, can Pittsburgh get that number one seed where the road has to come through their building? That's the most intriguing thing for me in the AFC.
Yeah, I mean, like I agree with you, right? AFC is looking like 10 to get you in. It's looking that way. It's looking like 10 will get you in because you got so many teams that's right there, and I mean, right there in the thick of it, right? I mean, even quiet is kept, right? The Colts with just one game back, amidst of what all they got going on, but I don't know if anybody outside of the Colts, I don't know if anybody else can catch them. Miami has a slimmer chance. I think Cincinnati's done.
Um,
The defense is just is they awful. They awful. Joe Burrow is really having an MVP caliber season, but it's gonna be nothing to show for it. Jamar Chase is probably gonna have the triple crown, and it's gonna be nothing to show for it because their defense can't stop anybody.
and I know we're not talking about this, but you talking about somebody or an organization blowing it. They finna have to pay Jamar Chase.
And they should have paid him this past summer.
I
Yes.
mean,
Then now they're gonna have to. I'm talking about they're gonna need like two
bring out
grease trucks.
broke
They're
dog.
gonna
Like,
need two of them.
man, they should have paid that brother.
Yeah.
Not about to either you gonna lose him or or you gonna have to pay him a whole bunch of money.
Pay him a whole lot. Who knows what's gonna happen with T. Higgins?
Mm-hmm.
It's so yeah. It's not looking good for Cincinnati for sure. But I agree with you, right? I mean, Kansas City more than likely probably will lose another game or two. So who can jump? Who can jump them
Mm-hmm.
and possibly have that one seed get that bye and host throughout the playoffs? Because now since we saw it last year, it doesn't matter now for Kansas City what seed they are. We saw it done last year because that's what we were waiting on to see. Could they do it without hosting that many? So just hosting all the AFC playoff games. Well, we see them do it last year. So
Yeah.
now we know that can be done with them. It don't matter. But who wants that? Who wants that one seed now? To where honestly, Kansas City is not as strong. Even though they looked a little different last year, it's something about them this year to where it just don't look the same as the years previous. So who can get that one seed to where you can get, if it is Kansas City, where you can get them on the road again, and maybe the outcome this time can be different.
Mm-hmm.
What would happen? I mean, do you want to? And then, like, as the teams, that's the wild card teams, right? Do you even feel like you're even worried about, scared of any of the home teams, right? Because it could happen to where all the road teams win the games that wild card weekend if it's set up the way it's set up, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you talk about Denver sitting right there at that 7 seed right now, but I mean, unfortunately, we saw it firsthand, man. That defense
It's real.
is real, right? And we all laughed about Bo Nix earlier in the season, but now it's looking like he's making the right plays, doing the right things, and for a second it looked like Jaden Daniels was a runaway favorite for offensive rookie of the year. Rookie of the year. Now you can make a case for
Mm-hmm.
Bo Nix if they keep winning to make a case for him to win rookie of the year. I still, if I had a vote, I would still slide towards Jaden Daniels,
No, no, for sure.
but he can make that case for sure, right? So I mean, that's that. And then over in the NFC, I don't know, man. Right now, the way I don't know who can beat Detroit.
Yeah.
If and because what I'm saying, especially the fact that they won a game where their quarterback threw 5 interceptions. Where does that happen? And then come back the next week and put 50 on regardless of who it is, on an NFL team, right? Put
Yeah.
50 on them. That's just
And it wasn't just that he threw 5 picks, bro. They threw 5 picks and they came back and won.
yeah.
He threw 5 picks and they came back to win the football game. Like on the road.
It's
I don't. Yeah.
it's crazy, right? And I mean, and then like for Philly, they look like they're finding the groove.
Mm.
So we'll see. It's up in the air. I hate to bring it up, but the NFC South, Atlanta had a chance here these past couple of weeks to kind of separate themselves
No doubt.
from the pack to where you know. And I still think for me the magic number was always 10, so I still think the magic number is 10. But it's a lot. It's hard because now the games that we thought beginning of the season where it's like, oh, these could be some easy. Now it's tough, right? Minnesota, Washington. You come off the bye week and you got the Chargers. I mean, there's a couple teams you got that's probably packing it up as far as like with the Raiders and the Giants. Finished the year with Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
but the fact that you still got the Chargers, you got the Vikings, and you got the Commanders on the schedule. And at this point now, it goes from not only trying to win the division. Now you got to factor in what happens with head to head if you end up slipping. And
Yeah.
the fact that you look at their schedule and Tampa Bay's schedule, it's a whole lot different. Who knows, man? So it's crazy. And like you said, yeah, the NFC West. I mean, it's looking like once again it may look like one of them two teams gonna play each other week 18 Sunday night football to figure out who's getting in. Like it always seems like it comes down to for them to almost except for a couple of years, it seems like it's come down to the final week of the season with them. Like
Exactly.
I definitely didn't see Arizona up there. Like I didn't realize that they were they were up in the standings like that. And as here being on the East Coast, kind of Southeast, it's hard to
Mm.
catch a lot of Cardinals games. So you just really didn't know it was like that. But it's gonna be interesting to see what happens this final stretch as we get ready to go into after this week, getting ready to head into November and December to figure out who's gonna have these playoff spots. Man, so we get ready here. Got a couple of games on the pick'ems. Speaking of the NFC West, first place on the line here between the Cardinals and the Seahawks. Uh, Game is there up there in the Northwest
Mm-hmm.
in Seattle. I believe this is the second. No, this is the first matchup. This is two and 3 weeks. They play each other twice in 3 weeks. So this could be possibly for the division.
Yep.
So this is this first matchup right here because this is going to imply a lot of things with tiebreakers. So who you got in this one?
Uh, I want to go with the Cardinals. I want to go with the Cardinals. Um, the Seattle's passing attack is ridiculous. Just with the receivers and Geno Smith. But I mean, Geno Smith is throwing 11 touchdowns, but he's also throwing 11 picks.
Hmm.
So that's a cause for concern um, for Seattle. He's got to be able to protect the ball better. Uh, I'm gonna roll with Seattle. I'm gonna pick Seattle at home. I'm gonna take Seattle because they're at home. I mean, the crowd definitely makes a difference for them in this game on Sunday. But Geno Smith has got to protect the football. He's got to protect the football because with Kyler Murray, with James Conner, and those receivers that they have out there in Arizona, they've shown they've shown they can be explosive on the offensive side of football. And if you're going to keep giving Kyler Murray and those guys a chance, um, it's not going to bode well. So I'm gonna go with Seattle. I'm gonna go with Seattle to take the dub. I don't have a score, but I'll take them because they're at home. That's the sole reason why I'm taking them. I think this is a pick. You can flip a coin and be fine with either one.
Yeah, it's a pick 'em for sure. I don't know, man. I wanna I wanna lean with Seattle too. But like you said, the way Geno Smith turns the ball over has me concerned. I would like to see them run the ball a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Granted, last week it's always gonna be hard to run on the 49er defense. No matter who it is, it's always hard to run on them. So it was kind of a quiet night for Kenneth Walker last week. But like you said, the passing attack was there. Gino was able to be mobile and uh, use his legs and kind of be able to do a threat. But man, I think the way the Cardinals been looking now, man, especially right now on this 4 game winning streak after after getting drummed by Green Bay, they've turned it on here. I'm gonna roll with the Cardinals. I think they keep the surprise going. Kyler Murray has a heck of a day because I mean Seattle's defense is Jekyll and Hyde. It's not the same Legion of Boom defense we grew up watching.
Yeah.
It's definitely a little different now. Um, but it should be some nice matchups. It's definitely a pick 'em. The game could go either way. I mean, literally the spread is Arizona -1. That's essentially a pick 'em.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's essentially a pick 'em, so it could definitely go either way. I mean, I think the home field advantage would side to Seattle, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna roll with Arizona. I think they'll go ahead and they get the dub. I don't have a score either, but I go with Arizona.
Okay.
Then we got next up Monday Night Football, probably the next biggest game of the week or the biggest game probably. Playoff implications as far as tiebreakers and head to
Mm-hmm.
heads, what may happen. Um, Even between the Ravens and the Chargers, and of course also we get another Harbaugh Bowl. We hadn't had one in a long time.
No doubt.
We get to see Jim and John Harbaugh face each other off, coach up against each other. Uh, should be a good one. Even with the bad game, I don't even say bad game. I guess even with the off game that Lamar Jackson had last week, if you look at his numbers, I still think he's in consideration for MVP again. Uh, J.K. Dobbins looks like he's probably gonna be front runner for comeback player of the year.
Yeah.
So man, who you got in this one?
I want to say this first. I am glad to see J.K. Dobbins doing what he is doing. I am not an Ohio State fan by no means, but I liked him coming out of Ohio State, and I thought he was going to be good for the Ravens, and he just couldn't stay healthy, which sucked. So to see him balling out with the Chargers, is definitely good to see. So I'm glad that he's doing his thing. With that being said, I'm taking the Ravens. I'm taking Baltimore. I think Lamar's playing out of his mind right now. I think that Derrick Henry is playing out of his mind right now, and I think they want to get that bad taste out of their mouth from this past Sunday with the loss against the Steelers. Also, John Harbaugh is 2-0 versus Jim in the league right now, so I think he makes it 3-0. In big matchups like this, I'm gonna take the experienced quarterback. So I'm gonna take Lamar and the Ravens to get it done.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Ravens try to rebound, especially offensively, because I mean, if you think about it, it wasn't a bad game for the defense. The fact that holding Pittsburgh to all field goals. I
Hmm.
mean, I think as a defense you'll take that, but obviously offensively it kind of sucked. They had a lot of penalties
Yeah.
last Sunday against Pittsburgh. They kind of ultimately it was their demise to where they couldn't really get anything going, and not sure what happened on that 2 point play. Something was off on it to where they couldn't get that working together or anything like that. But um, I think Lamar rebounds, especially the fact that this is going to be inside dome on that field, like he kind of get the ripping and running around.
Hmm.
Um, I think we'll see a rebound game for Zay Flowers. He was kind of quiet last week.
Yeah.
Um, and of course Derrick Henry's going to do Derrick Henry things. Um, I mean, I think it's going to be a good game, but I just, in the end, I'm with you. I think the experience comes out on top for the Ravens, and they find a way to get this win because I feel like they needed more than the Chargers. I know they're a little. I know the Chargers are kind of still a little separated from Kansas City, so the division for them. I won't say it's not necessarily out of sight, but it's going to be harder for them to reach.
Hmm.
With Baltimore, they still kind of in reach with Pittsburgh, and they still got another game with them to try to get it up. Plus,
Hmm.
Pittsburgh got a divisional game tonight with Cleveland. We never know what can happen in these division games, especially in the AFC North. It's just anything can happen.
Yeah.
Um, Pittsburgh still has the rest of their division games to go, so I know Baltimore is going to be kind of watching that as they're going along with their games, but they got to get this one first. So I think they need it more than the Chargers. So I'm gonna go with Baltimore as well to get the win over the Chargers. Man, so now shifting gears over into college football, getting down here to, like I said earlier in the show, the last 2 weeks of the regular season. Then we got championship Saturday for some, and then getting ready for the playoff selection and the first round matchups. It's getting there. Everybody's getting excited. Everybody's pointing fingers. Everybody is making their cases. Everybody
Yeah.
is giving excuses. It's a
Yeah.
lot, right? So we got the latest college football playoff rankings that came out this past Tuesday. Nothing changed at the top. The same top five teams were the same. Oregon, who eked out a win against Wisconsin, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Indiana, all took care of business. Notre Dame jumped up 2 spots. Alabama jumps up 3 spots at 7. And then rounding out the rest of the top 12, there is Miami, Ole Miss, Georgia, Tennessee, Boise State jumps in at 12. And 13 and 14, you have SMU and BYU. But if you look at how the bracket would be based on the new criteria now for this 12-team playoff, with Boise State being at 12, now they have the 4 seed. If the playoffs were to start today, they get the bye. BYU, because they still lead the Big 12 for now falls to the 12 seed, and SMU and Tennessee, I believe, are the first two out, according to the way that the criteria works. There's a lot of bickering and back and forth on social media about looking at certain teams like Indiana, Penn State, Notre Dame on how high they're ranked and the fact that their strength of schedule, who they play, who they lost to, and everything like that. And then everybody in the SEC is trying to make their cases for Bama, Georgia, Tennessee, Ole Miss, and the fact that they all got 2 losses, and there's Texas right there with the only 1 loss, and everybody's clamoring, trying to make their case. Do you have a problem with this, one, with the rankings for this week, and two, how high they have teams like Penn State, Indiana, Notre Dame because of their record and strength of schedule or lack of who they played or anything like that? Like, I feel like that's not much of a criterion now with this 12-team playoff, but do you take an issue of what everybody's just clamoring about, how Indiana and Notre Dame being too high, but just because, Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois and
Mm-hmm.
Indiana hasn't had anybody close on their schedule that I don't even think that has a winning record besides Washington. So, what do you make of all this for this week with the rankings?
A lot of it's gonna work itself out,
As it always does.
as always. Now, do I believe that out of the top 5, that 4 Big 10 teams are the best teams in the country? No, I do not. I do not think that there are 4 Big 10 teams better than I don't. Um, Ohio State and Indiana play on Saturday. This is boom or bust for Indiana. You lose this game, it's over. They're done.
You
They're
think
not.
you think you think if they
I,
lose, they're out,
I think they're done.
completely out?
I think so.
If they finish at 11-1,
Who they play, bro? And I get to your point. Not really looking at strength of schedule.
well, you're right. You're right. They left out of undefeated Florida State last year, so
So who have you really played? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you lose to Ohio State, that's your one shot.
yeah,
In my opinion, that's your one shot. If you don't beat them, I, I don't know. I don't know. They might sneak in at a 12, but it'd be hard to make the case. Some of these other schools, some of these other teams that have played some tougher schedules. Um, or I like Penn State, man. I do. Um, but the team they played is Ohio State, and they lost at home. So them still kind of saying number 4 is tough. But like I said, a lot of stuff is gonna work itself out. The problem that I have, I think SMU not jumping in the top 12. I think that's kind of that. I think I kind of have an issue with that. I mean, Tennessee losing, they dropped 4 spots, but you can move SMU up. Like they're still one of the first teams out. And I don't think too highly of Miami right now after losing to Georgia Tech.
good
They kind
call,
of
by the way.
they put appreciation. uh, they pulled in Miami. They pulled in Miami and did what they have seen to have done the last couple of years is lose a game where they probably weren't supposed to lose. They're playing with the food a lot this throughout the year, and it finally came back to bite them. Um, but yeah, to me, the Big Ten to me is weak because of the strength of schedule for a lot of those schools, and it's tough because you're looking at the SEC and looking at the losses. Was like, dude, what do you want us to do? Like, what do you want Georgia to do? What do you want them to do? They went on the road and lost to Alabama, where they had to come back, and they took the lead, and then they went on the road and lost to Ole Miss, who I thought was a dark horse to win the SEC and is looking pretty good right now. They also saw an Ole Miss team who was pretty good at football this year. You look at Alabama, who who went on the road and lost to Tennessee, who's not bad, and they lost to
Vandy.
Vandy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Who I
more
believe
in
is
more
bowl
years,
eligible, right? Yeah.
in most years, that's a terrible loss. But all of a sudden, Vandy was ranked, and Vandy's won 6, 7 games or whatever it is. Like, so is that a bad loss? Maybe, maybe not. You have that back and forth. Is you have those schools that with Texas and Oklahoma coming in, you really, really have the SEC just beating up on each other. But once again, it'll work itself out because Indiana plays Ohio State. There's still a Big Ten championship that has to be played. Who between what teams? Who knows? I truly, truly believe that if Indiana loses, I think they will be done. I don't see the committee putting them in. I just don't. I could be wrong, but I don't see them. I don't see them getting in. Notre Dame, they had a bad loss in Northern Illinois, but they've been rolling since then. They got to deal with Army on Saturday, so they better take care of business with that. But I think it works. I think it'll work itself out. To me, I think there's going to end up being four. I There's going to be 3+ teams from the Big Ten in the SEC in the playoff for sure. There's going to be 3 teams from both conferences that make the playoff. Um, so then when they get into the playoff, it'll work itself out. So it'll all happen. I get the frustration. Like I said, I don't think that Indiana, Penn State, Ohio State, and Oregon. I don't. You can't tell me that those 4 teams are better than a Ole Miss, a Georgia, or Alabama right now. That's just my opinion. You can't tell me all 4 of those teams are better than those 3. But you got to play the games, and they'll be played here in a couple weeks.
Yeah. To be honest, I think I may be in a minority with this, but I don't have an issue with Notre Dame. I get it. I get the Northern Illinois loss is terrible.
No doubt.
It's probably the worst loss out of everybody that's ranked in the top 12.
No,
No, probably it is the worst
it's
loss. I
that
mean, it's for sure the worst loss because I don't even think Northern Illinois is even competing this good in the MAC this year.
of that 500.
Yeah, I don't even know if they are sniffing a chance to even be in a conference championship or anything like that. I
They
don't.
are
I think they're like six,
5 right now, but they're 3 and 4 in conference. Yeah, they're
barely
no.
cracking. You know what I'm saying? Barely. So it's bad. But if you drumming teams after that, it is what it is. But also, we know what Notre Dame is gonna do. Okay,
I'm with you.
we know what they're gonna do. So I feel like whether they in or not, it don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
What I do have an issue with is the way that they have some of the SEC teams ranked. I feel like I don't understand Alabama being at 7, and I guess it's because the Georgia win holds a lot of weight. It does. It holds a lot of weight for them. The Georgia win holds a lot of weight, but they lost to Tennessee,
Okay.
and I feel like if it was me, I would rank it far as between Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, and Tennessee. I would probably have Ole Miss, Bama. No, scratch it. Yeah, Ole Miss, Bama, Georgia, Tennessee. It sucks for Tennessee,
Yeah.
and I know because it's like they beat Bama, but Bama's win over Georgia is holding more weight to the committee. It seems like it's holding more weight
Mm-hmm.
than Tennessee beating Bama.
Mm-hmm.
And then people claim the Arkansas loss is a bad loss, but I disagree on that because I feel like Ole Miss loss to Kentucky is worse.
I agree.
But I think the deal with them also being higher is their win over Georgia is holding more weight.
No doubt.
Their win over Georgia is holding more weight,
Yeah.
and then I can also see where, I'm kind of tired of the fellow dogs beating that dead drum, but I understand where they coming from to where we probably got the best win out of everybody. We at the time we had beat the then number one ranked team in the country. I get that.
For sure.
I get that, and the fact that every big game we had besides this last one was on the road. And
Yeah.
you throw the hypotheticals. Well, if you put Indiana in this one, if you put Notre Dame, not scared. If you put, I get it, and part of it, I get the hypotheticals, but then I'm also like you said, man. At the end of the day, you playing the game, right?
Gotta play the game, bro.
Now I will say this, and I know it's gonna make me sound like a homer, but Georgia's in the best shape out of Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, and Tennessee.
They
They're
got
the
the
best shape,
bro.
and I even throw in Texas. They're in the best shape.
They had the easiest road if it ended right now.
Not even that, right? They're done with conference play, so
True.
they don't have. They're done with conference play. They got you. They got homecoming. I don't know if it's legit homecoming, but they got a money game this week
Okay.
against UMass. Now you still got Georgia Tech,
Mm-hmm.
and this is not 5-6 years ago Georgia Tech. This is a
Yeah.
very good Georgia Tech team. So they got that. So they can't fall off on that, but. They chilling because probably the way the tiebreakers are setting up because they got the loss to Georgia. I mean, they got the loss to Bama. They got the loss to Ole Miss. They probably won't play in the
It's
SEC championship game. So
true.
now they're chilling. Tennessee kind of needs some help. Ole Miss can kind of sneak in there if somebody else loses. But the thing is we talking about we hadn't mentioned Texas A&M when they play in 2 weeks.
It's the best play. Yeah.
Because if Texas loses to A&M, I think they're done.
Okay.
Because what quality wins do they have?
Yeah, you lost to Georgia. You lost to A&M. You beat up on Florida, who, whatever.
You
You
beat
beat
up on Florida.
up on.
Is your best win Bandy that you have to
Yeah,
eke out like a
yeah,
six point win?
that's a good point. That's a good point.
So that's why I feel like it's there. So then what? Let's say Texas loses to A&M,
Mm-hmm.
and it's probably Alabama, Ole Miss, or yeah, maybe A&M. I don't know who's all in it because of the tiebreakers. What's going to happen? Because I don't know how many conference losses they have.
Saw something crazy, man. If
Oh, A&M not even ranked, so never mind. They probably won't even matter. Or for our standings, I don't know what their conference record is.
saw something crazy, there could be like an 8-way tie in the SEC, man. With all
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Well, A&M only has one conference loss, so yeah. So
that. They also, yeah, South Carolina. Yeah,
I
these
mean, so if they went out, they're probably in because they got Auburn this week, and Texas next week. So that's the thing. But even still, it's still not a lock. It still may not even be a lock for Texas if they beat A&M because now they got to play probably either Alabama or LSU or Alabama or Ole Miss probably depending on what happens because I don't see. Well, we'll see, but I won't get into that. I won't jump ahead of myself, but it's a lot to get into for that. But like for example, or Alabama, I don't see Alabama losing their next two games. It's Oklahoma and Auburn. Granted, the Iron Bowl, you can never rule it out. You throw the records out when it comes to rivalry. I just don't see them losing. Ole Miss has Florida, Mississippi State.
you
Who
should
knows?
handle your business.
Yeah, who knows? So there's a lot there. So if I'm Georgia, I'm chilling. If I get past Georgia Tech, I'm in because I mean, you got some very cold wins. One of them was on the road. One of them was at home.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot, right? But like you said, the games are gonna be played. To me, right now, I only see maybe 4 or 5 locks. I think Oregon, Ohio State is a lock.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in my opinion, I feel like Georgia is a lock.
Okay.
Um, depending on what happens with the SEC championship game, Bama is possibly a lock, and it's just maybe the weakest out of them all. But
But
I'm going with Penn State just because I feel like with them finishing 11-1, and
mm-hmm.
I think they've got a little bit of a better schedule than Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And also it depends on what happens. If Ohio State blows out Indiana,
Yeah.
then you got to say, okay, yeah, Penn State at least hung around.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana wasn't close. We're going with that. But I think right now it's only 3 or 4 locks, and it's. But like you said, it's going to get played out on the
Mm-hmm.
field at the end of the day.
Well, I want to give Indiana some credit and give them some love because I stand by what I said. I think that if they lose Saturday, I think they are out. What I will give Indiana credit for, what I will for is something that Miami. So let's play the Indiana versus Miami conversation. Say Miami does not win the ACC at all. Now that'd be 2 losses, but let's just say they don't win the ACC and say it comes down to Indiana versus a Miami conversation. Obviously, brands is not even close because that definitely plays a factor. We're not gonna act like it doesn't. Brands plays a factor in who they decide is gonna be in the playoff. And they know Miami fans are gonna travel and they're gonna show up and they're gonna buy tickets. Indiana, not the same. Cool. What I will give Indiana credit for is that even with their strength of schedule not being as strong, they have been whooping everybody. They have
Yeah,
not played the game
not even close.
close. The closest game I can think of, I think, was like 41-24 or something. They have been blowing everybody out. Game day was at the game when they played. Uh, was it Washington?
I believe it was Washington. Yeah,
Them out. Everybody's talking about Indiana versus Nebraska. Stomped a mud hole in them boys. They have been blanking everybody. So, where you're talking about a Miami team, who I mentioned earlier, has been playing with their food. They were down 25 to Cal. They were down against some of these other squads. They lost to Georgia Tech. They've had to come back and win football games, um, and it obviously also it turned into a loss a couple weeks ago. Indiana has been boat racing people. So I give them credit for that because if it comes down to a conversation of one loss teams, and like you mentioned, if that Ohio State game on Saturday is close, if it's a one score, even if it's a 10-point game, but if it's a one score type of game that comes down to the wire and you're looking at, okay, who are some of the better one loss teams, it would be hard for me to not put Indiana in that conversation because of how they've the, done their opponents. Right? They've beat and done to that schedule what a good team is supposed to do. When you play a weak schedule like that, you're supposed to whip everybody, and that's what they've been doing. So if they were to lose on Saturday in a tight game, one score game, whatever it is, um, and they ended up with one loss, and they have that on their resume, then to me, okay, you have an argument for Indiana to be in the playoffs. So just to give some love, because I was talking about that earlier with some of my coworkers and stuff. It's like, hey man, like they have been whooping up on everybody. It's not like they just been playing close games and stuff. Like they've been beating everybody. So um, we'll see. We'll see, man. Saturday's gonna be fun. Saturday's gonna be fun.
yeah, for sure. You're right. And you mentioned about the ACC. I mean, it's still up for grabs. It's a 3-team race. You got SMU, Miami, and surprisingly, you can't rule out Clemson. Clemson,
Yeah.
right? You think
I,
about it, right?
yeah.
But I mean, I'm just saying, like you can't
Nah,
rule them out. Just the fact of
yeah.
they're kind of in the same boat. they're in the same boat as Georgia, right? I mean, done with conference play, so they got, they got a money grab this week. Um, yeah, they got a money grab this week, and then of course finish with the rivalry game in South Carolina. If they get past that,
Yeah.
then who knows? And at that point, all they need is Miami or SMU to lose one, and it guarantees more so Miami. It guarantees them a spot at least to get in. If not, it may still come down to Miami and SMU.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? I mean, same thing for the Big 12, which we'll get into that too. It's a lot up for grabs for that. We didn't even mention that.
Yeah.
We didn't even mention that. So it's a lot. It's a lot up for grabs. But I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait for Saturday too, man. It's gonna be it's gonna be a good one for sure. Um, but speaking of, we'll go ahead and get right into the picks, man. Oh, I'm sorry, skipping one. I know it's down to the end of the season.
Oh, yeah.
The games on paper don't look like a lot, but something can always still happen here in college football, man. Who do you have on upset alert this week?
2 teams.
Yeah.
Notre Dame is on upset alert. I know what they did to Navy. I know what they did to Navy. But Army is better than Navy. The quarterback is back. It's at a neutral site again. I think it'll be a little different. That spread is a lot. I think it's because of what they did to Navy. I don't think Army turns the ball over. Is going to turn the ball over like Navy did. That's really what kind of
Sealed their fate. Yeah.
sealed it for sure for Navy was the turnovers. But Notre Dame is on upset alert. And then I picked them. I picked them to I picked them to win the game, man. But LSU, man, LSU, man, you're on upset alert. It's hard for me to think that LSU will lose at home against Vandy. Uh, yeah, I believe they're supposed to be wearing like they got these new gold jerseys they're supposed to be wearing and stuff like that
Yeah.
that they are nice. Uh, but we mentioned it, man. This is not um, this is not the Vandy that we've grown up watching. This is not the same Vanderbilt team. It's a little, and just the thought of them losing at home at night is like crazy to me to Vanderbilt, but it can happen. So LSU, Brian Kelly, I'm gonna let you know. Let Pavia come on down there and get to doing this thing. Don't let him do it. You know that defense for LSU has been a little rocky all season, especially when it comes to design quarterback runs and what does Vanderbilt like to do. So I'm
Hmm.
upset a little.
I got two teams too. The first one I'm not so confident in, but it's just the fact that it is tricky. Ole Miss. All right,
Okay.
you heading down to the swamp. Granted, it's not a night game, so you got lucky.
Mm-hmm.
But still, going down to the swamp, this Florida team is feisty. In the beginning of the year, I didn't even know if they could even sniff out 3 wins.
Yeah,
It,
yeah,
it did. It looked real tough.
yeah,
But now the fact that they're on the verge of being bowl eligible, because I know, like I said, got to throw the rivalries out, but they probably gonna BTA Florida State.
for sure.
It is what it is. But they got LSU real good last week in the swamp, and like I said, that was a night game, so that helped. So Ole Miss may have a little chance. The fact that it's not a night game, but are you peeking ahead to thinking about possibly Atlanta
Yeah,
when you got to worry about games? You got to worry about Gainesville, Florida, and then you still got the Egg Bowl after that. I know Mississippi State worst team in the SEC, but you know, are you looking too far ahead to
mm,
possibly Atlanta and you meeting up with one of those Texas teams or it's Alabama that you possibly meeting up with and you get too far ahead? That's all on that one. My second one, Colorado.
I gotta hear this. I want to because the fact that the spread is what it is, and so
I'm
I
just saying. I'm
I
just saying.
is to win to preseason to win the Big 12, and they have disappointed me, bro. But all of a sudden, now they can play football, bro.
1-5, right? Started the season 1-5. They've won 3 out of the last 4. Had a close one to Kansas State that they probably should have won. And the last 2 wins they've had has been over ranked teams in the Big 12, right? And the thing is Colorado has this path to where if they just win out and they get to the Pittsburgh championship game to play whomever it may be,
Mm-hmm.
they got a chance to get to the playoffs, right? But this is that spread is 2.5, bro. It's like that for a reason. So I'm just saying,
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
this this is this is this is a very dangerous Kansas team because they hot right now.
Yeah,
They hot. Granted, Colorado is too, but
yeah.
that is a dangerous team that you get on the road in
Mm-hmm.
Lawrence. Uh, Afternoon game. You know what I'm saying? Early afternoon.
They
So
Arrowhead, bro. They're not even playing Lawrence. They're playing Arrowhead.
it's in Arrowhead.
Yeah, they playing
Hey,
Arrowhead, bro. Yeah,
I'm just I'm just saying.
I'm with you.
I I I, I think Colorado can do enough to eke by, but
Mm-hmm.
that spread ain't at 2.5, 3 for a reason.
Yeah,
So yeah, teams. I got 2 teams that should win, but they're definitely on upset alert.
yeah.
Ole Miss, Colorado.
It's crazy, bro.
Ole Miss, Colorado.
Oh, ain't Kansas. Yeah, end of the
It's
year
that league is probably the that in the ACC is probably the 2 leagues that we missed on badly.
for sure. I picked Florida
Badly.
State, bro.
Cause you went Kansas, I went Utah, and both of them are like not even sniffing. I
Yeah.
think we both went Florida State in
Oh
the
my,
ACC,
bro. That
and
was done after
they
week.
ruined it.
That was done too because they played week 0. That pick was over,
Uh, it was
bro.
we missed those badly, but at
It's
least we made up for it. At least in the SEC and the Big Ten,
yeah.
we made up for it.
It's holding
Golly,
right now.
golly, we missed badly on that. But man, we're gonna get into the pick'ems here. Now we ready. We got 3 games on tap, 3 big ones because they all implicate conference standings,
Mm-hmm.
playoff implications. All of that, right?
Yep.
All right. First game on tap. You just mentioned it, right? We got Notre Dame taking on Army, 6th ranked Notre Dame, 19th ranked Army. This one's at a neutral site too, right? Where they're playing
Yes,
at? Is
sir.
it is it in New York? Is it Yankees Stadium? I believe it's in Yankee Stadium.
Let me see. Okay, it is.
It is. Neutral game, Yankee Stadium, so it'd be interesting. I mean, Army still right now undefeated, on their way to an American championship game against Tulane, so that's set already.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but of course, who knows? Maybe they may still have something in play. Nah, I don't think the committee would give them that much. But I don't know if they beat Notre Dame. We'll see. But man, who you got in this one?
Before I do my pick, I got posed a question: if Boise State, or excuse me, yeah, if Boise State finished 12-1 or whatever would be, they win the conference, and Army finishes undefeated, who should get in? Who you put in? The answer is Army. Army gets in. You put Army in the playoff. Group of 5 team. They undefeated. They beat Notre Dame, 6th ranked in the nation. The loss that Boise State has is to UNLV, who was ranked at the time, but who has the better win? Notre Dame does. So I mean, I know that. Excuse me, Army does. You put
Yeah,
Army in the freaking playoff if they have finished undefeated, bro. I don't know why.
you
The,
you think they'll do that? You think they'll do that? Because there's somebody. I mean, yes, they should, but we
they,
saw them do this last year.
I hear you. I hear you. But to me, I feel like it's so easy. It's just a
I agree.
drive.
I agree
It's
with
so
you. I
quick
feel
drive.
like that's what it should be.
When
Just because if
you
Army's
get
under,
it,
if Army goes 13-0, because
well,
since they got a chance, they got I'm sorry. 13-0 because they'll have this game, another game. No, is it this? Yeah, they got this game, another game. I don't know who they play after that, and then of course, they got Navy.
So they play Notre Dame, UTSA, so that give them 11. Army would be 12, and then if they win the conference, that's 13. So you 13-0 already. Yeah, put Army in the playoff, man. Boys, they got a loss. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean the one loss is to Oregon.
That's tough.
That's you know what I mean, and
That's
it's a 3-point loss too. It
that's
was
tough.
close. It
Feel
was
it.
close.
Feel it.
But I agree. If
Yeah.
Army ends up running the table, go undefeated, I feel like they deserve to get that.
Get in.
I feel like they'll get in, but I don't know, man. The
They gotta,
committee,
but we'll see. We gotta
the
get there. They
the
they'll
committee.
they'll have to.
I don't. You know what? I don't mind. I don't mind them doing the whole weekly rankings because I guess in a way that kind of helps to figure out what needs to be done. But then I also feel like I don't know how they could do it, but I wish they would kind of just do it like men's basketball, right? I mean, you get somebody that's like Joe Lunardi who can make the predictions and projections and everything like that, but don't nobody know until Sunday.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't know until Selection Sunday if you getting in. Besides the conference champions, when you like
Yeah,
at that point
you
you
know
trying
they
to
get
figure
in.
out what seed you are.
Yeah.
Because granted, this gives us something to talk about every week, but I'm like, some of this stuff, man, as soon as it's like done, it's exhausting. 20 minutes after rankings drop, and it's just like it's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Just hearing some of the stuff that's being said, but I know it can't be done, but I would like for that to kind of happen.
I
But
would hope. I would hope so, man. I was hoping that both of them got to the game undefeated. That would have been crazy too. But I'm picking with my brain. I'm picking Notre Dame. Me being who I am, it's just being like I'm just gonna go against the grain. I would love to just pick Army, to just go against the grain, but I'm gonna pick Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame will play the option well. Like I said, I don't think Army's gonna turn the ball over like Navy did, but I think now and Army's defense is very very good. So Army has a very good defense, but so does Notre Dame. I'm gonna take Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame does enough. I think 14 is too much. I think that's a lot of points. In my opinion, I think Army is like I said, Army's better than Navy. I think they're playing tougher than that. But I'm gonna go with the Fighting Irish.
Army is tough. But Army also hasn't beaten Notre Dame since 1958. Granted, they don't play every year, so that's the thing. They don't play every year,
Yeah.
but they hadn't beaten them since 1958. The last 15 games, Notre Dame has won, and the closest they've gotten was 1995. It was 28-27.
Hmm.
A lot of times they pretty much beat the brace off Army.
Yeah.
I think Army will compete. They'll find a way to make this game close. 2 touchdowns, I feel like it's a lot. I get
Mm.
why they have the spread that high just because of how Notre Dame's been rolling. So I get it. But I think our Army will compete with them. But in the end, I think Notre Dame will be just a bit too much.
That's-
It'll be a bit too much, and I'll go with Notre Dame too. I would like for Army to try to pull off the upset.
It'd be cool.
It would be cool, but I think in the end it's just gonna be too much Notre Dame. It's gonna be too much Notre Dame. All right. Next game on tap we got here. We're gonna go into the Big 12. We didn't mention these two teams, but they got a big one here. BYU coming off their tough loss to Kansas at home ended their undefeated bid. Um, going up is
Uh,
surprising Arizona State team. I think Arizona State and Colorado was picked to kind of be near the bottom of the
mm-hmm.
league, and they both have a shot to maybe ultimately play each other
Yeah.
in the Big 12 championship because pretty much the winner of this one between Arizona State and BYU, barring something else happening that following week, solidifies themselves into the Big 12 championship, awaiting the winner of awaiting to see maybe possibly Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a big one, right? Like hadn't seen BYU in this kind of moment in a while. Same thing for Arizona State, right? So this is gonna be interesting, man. Who you got in this one?
Give me Sun Devils, man. Give me Arizona State. Sam Levitt, the quarterback, freshman, is playing out of his mind. He's been playing well all year. Um, they have, I mean, you said it, man. They've surprised me. Didn't think they were going to beat Kansas State last week, and they beat Kansas State. They got UCF and beat UCF. They put a head whooping on Oklahoma State. I mean, they've beaten some teams um, that before the season started. If you had told me they would, one, you told me that Arizona State would be in this position and they would have beat some of those teams I just mentioned, I would have looked at you like you're crazy. I mean,
Yeah,
the game they've lost one game when Sam Levitt had started, and that was against Texas Tech. Outside of that, the other game that they lost was against Cincinnati. He didn't play in that game, so or he got hurt or whatever it was. So um, they've been playing good football. Kudos to that program and that coach, man, who's taking over down in Arizona State. They were thought they were trending in the right direction a couple years ago with Herm Edwards and all that stuff happening down there, and to see that they have kind of righted the wrongs and where they're headed right now is good to see. I think that I think that Arizona State is headed upward, and I think that loss, that BYU, how do they respond to that loss, especially that loss being that it was at home. You lost that game at home, and now you have to go on the road to Arizona State with what you said, with all that's on the line. It's gonna be tough. So I'm gonna take Arizona State, man. I think Arizona State figures it out, and I think they win on Saturday, man. Give me the Sun Devils.
forks up. I'm taking Arizona State too.
Do it.
Um, Kenny Dillingham, whatever he's feeding them is working. The
Yeah.
players have already bought in. I mean, you can see the improvement anyway from the time that he's gotten there to now. And was you think it was going to be this fast? Probably not.
No.
But I mean, it's just a heck of a job from Coach Dillingham for sure. Um, I just think Arizona's passing game is going to be too much for BYU. Um, if it ends up turning into a track meet, that's going to favor Arizona State.
No doubt.
Um, I just I think I think that loss to BYU was such a gut punch
Yeah.
because it was close. They were right there. They probably had the game in their grasp and just couldn't seize it. I think that was a gut punch for them. I don't know how they can come back and respond, and maybe they will. Maybe they will. I don't know, but I just think that's hard to do to come back to a team and to a stadium in a place that hadn't had a game of this magnitude in a long time. I'm not gonna be honest with you. I don't remember the last time Arizona State had a game this big for them.
The
You know,
last
so probably when
when
Jaden
Oregon came
Daniels was
there,
there.
exactly.
Probably when Jaden Daniels was there and they upset Oregon that year, his
Exactly.
freshman year.
Yep.
That's been a while. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be rocking in there. So I think Arizona State ends up just being too much in the passing game, um, and they crush BYU's hopes of still trying to get in the playoffs. I'm going with Arizona State.
Huh.
Then of course the big one. Um, hate that it's so early in the day, um, but that's what Fox does now with the big noon games and stuff, or
Yeah.
and everything like that. But man, up there in the horseshoe, It's gonna be rocking. It's gonna be loud. Fifth ranked Indiana, second ranked Ohio State. Indiana's first real test. Ohio State at home. Man, who you got? Who you got in this one?
Man, first I'm going there. The Big Ten sucks, bro. The Big Ten sucks. How do you have the biggest game of the weekend at noon?
Like you couldn't flex it somewhere to be
So,
like
so apparently, with Fox, the contract they have with Fox, Fox is always going to get the biggest game. Hence why the big noon kickoff, whatever. So they always get that game. What are we doing? What are we doing? I all like a lot. Fox is already kind of like whatever watching college ball on Fox already. Like I don't know, man. It's more of an NFL thing. I don't know. It's just already kind of weird to me. I love Gus Johnson though. Like Gus Johnson a lot.
for sure.
You go. But with that being said, man, like why wasn't Penn State Ohio State? Everybody like why wasn't Penn State Ohio State at Whiteout when they were playing at 12 and they have Washington in a couple weeks so at night. So that's why. Why is Indiana Ohio State not a night game? What's going on? CBS, the SEC, all grown up. That's the game of the week. It's at 3:30. They have the contract with CBS, bro. Do you know what the Big Ten? Do you know what the 3:30 game is on CBS?
What is it?
It's Penn State and Minnesota. You have Ohio State. You have Ohio State and Indiana, a top five matchup. A top five matchup. Even if it was at 3:30, even if it was at 3:30, that would be better.
Perfect. I'm
Boom.
fine with that. I am fine with that. If it's at 3:30, I'm cool.
It, I mean, it's just, bro. It's even if it was. I'm not like. It's not even about the Fox. It's not. It's just the Big Ten. Because even if it was on ESPN, it's like, why is this at noon on ESPN? It needs to be at least a 3:30 kick. If not, it gotta be a night game, but it should at least be 3:30, bro. So the Big Ten, they just is terrible. Their scheduling is terrible. I digress. I'm taking Ohio State because Ohio State is at home. But one of the coaches that I work with, he did a lot of probably did more research than he needed to try to figure out who's going to win this game on Saturday. But there are a lot of similarities. I mean, if you look at the stats and the numbers, you look at passing yards for the quarterbacks, rushing yards, leading rushers, leading receivers, defense, talking about sacks, talking about points per game. Like if you just go down the list, even the last couple games, how many yards each quarterback is thrown for in the last three games, the scores of the last three games, like similar opponents. Like there are a lot of similarities between Indiana and Ohio State. And so when I was going back and he was telling me all this, and I knew I had to pick this game, right, coming down on the podcast. So okay, when everything seems even, when everything is even, what is the deciding factor? Who's playing at home? To me, it's who's playing at home. When the numbers look the same, when the records look the same, when everything seems to be the same, I'm gonna throw history out the window. I'm not gonna count the history. Ohio State being at home to me is enough to make me feel comfortable to pick them. Could Indiana do it? For sure. They for sure could do it. Ohio State doesn't look like this juggernaut of a football team. But with them being at home, that's enough to make me feel comfortable to pick the Buckeyes. So give me Ohio State. And even still, like game day's gonna like even that, like game day's gonna be there. Like whatever. I'm done. Yeah, Ohio State. I'm taking Ohio. I'm taking Ohio State, man. I'm taking Ohio State.
So I don't have like much of trying to really just go back and forth. With this one. Um, I think Indiana will come ready to play. I think they'll realize how big of a magnitude of this game, and I think Coach Ignatius would get his guys ready because everywhere he's gone, he's won. He's a winner,
Mm-hmm.
and I give him this credit. But like you said, that atmosphere in the horseshoe, a big game, a gotta have it game because I mean Ohio State can't really afford to lose another one themselves anyway.
Mm-mm.
It's a gotta have it game, and I just think that it's all of that factored in. It's just gonna be a bit too much, and I think Ohio State pulls it out. Offensively, I think they'll be a tad bit better. This will be the best. This will be the best offense that Indiana faces all year, regardless of this is not like 50 points a game. Ohio. This is not like Justin Fields, Ohio State, or this is not J.C. Barrett, Ohio State. This is
And
not
yeah,
this
yeah,
ain't C.J. Stroud, Ohio State. I get it, but Will Howard would be the best quarterback that Indiana has faced all season for
probably.
sure. There's still Junkins and Henderson back there, uh, Ibuka and Jeremiah Smith.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pick your poison, right? You can put eight in the box to try to stop those running backs and leave Jeremiah Smith and Ibuka one on ones, or you gonna play cover two and Junkins and Henderson gets off. Oh, don't forget, Will Howard can run too.
Yeah,
I don't know how you stop all that. I really don't. And maybe Indiana will be competitive and make it like a game, but then I wouldn't be surprised if Ohio State wins by 3 touchdowns or wins by 17 points or something like that, and it's not as close as it is even going to look like indicated by the score.
yeah.
I don't know, but I just think it's too much, man. I'm rolling with Ohio State too. So, like you said, Indiana lose, they're done.
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah, I'm stamped. They lose on Saturday. I think that's it. I don't know if they get it.
Yeah,
And
that's gonna be hard because next week is Purdue.
that is like I this. The only caveat is if it's a close game, if it's a close football game, if it's a one score game, I can see it. If they go in there and get blown out, it's over. You cannot go in there and lose by 2 touchdowns. If they lose by touchdown, field goal, 5, 6 points, whatever it is, I could see it. But it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. But I don't wanna put a that's the only asterisk I have, but I'm gonna stick by what I said. I think if they lose, I think it might be curtains. I think it might be curtains.
Well, I mean, I kind of agree with you just because I mean at that point there's no ranked wins at
No,
all,
yeah,
and I think that's hard to put somebody. Albeit they'll probably if they lose they will finish 11-1. I think albeit that's gonna be kind of hard to put someone in at 11-1 and they not had at least one from a Power Four school to not have at least one ranked win.
it's tough.
That's that's tough.
Hmm.
That's tough. So I don't know, man. We'll see, man. But we get ready to wrap up another episode. Anything you want to say out there to the people, man?
And man, be safe. Be safe as you guys travel, wherever you're traveling to, home, wherever you're going for Thanksgiving. Be safe on the road. Just be safe, man. Be safe wherever you're traveling to. Um, enjoy time with your family. Eat good. Laugh. Talk. All that good stuff. Check on your loved ones, man. Please check on your loved ones. Um, but yeah, man, just enjoy this time. This is always a good time here, um, just because of all the holidays. Yeah, but this time of the year, man, is really centered around family and spending time with the people that you love. So definitely enjoy this time of the year. And we won't be recording a episode next week, but Happy Thanksgiving, and appreciate the support. And we'll be ready for an episode in the next couple weeks. So that's it, man. That's it.
Yeah, same for me, man. Y'all enjoy this holiday season. This can be kind of bittersweet for a lot of people.
Hmm.
Because it's the holidays in consist of you being around your loved ones, and for some people, their loved ones aren't here anymore.
Yeah,
Um, so be cognitive of that. But for those that have someone that they love, they truly care about, they cherish, man, for sure, take the time out, spend some time with them. Uh, Take pictures. Y'all was on your phone anyway. Take pictures.
yeah.
For sure, take pictures. And I ain't talking about take pictures of your plate. We all know we eating green beans, yams, hams, potatoes, tomatoes,
You name it.
Yeah, we already know what you eating.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But no, like for real, man, take pictures with your family, man. Enjoy yourselves. Um, Spend time with each other, catch up with each other. Um, Man, just love one another. Yeah, be safe out here. However you travel, whether it be on the road, in the air, uh, however you gotta get there, man. Yeah, be safe out there. Um, yeah, and enjoy yourselves. Um, it is Sagittarius season. Shout out to all the Sags. Big early birthday shout out to my lady. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say her age because they say you never tell a woman's age. So I ain't gonna say
Do that.
she they say you never tell a woman's age. And I don't know about y'all. I have a nice couch, but I have a really nice bed.
There you go. There you go. You there. Nothing else needs to be said.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So had to get that out there. I mean, if we want to keep the SAG season going, well, I can wait. I can wait. Mom Dude's birthday is in December. We'll have another episode.
There you
We'll
go.
have
Yeah, no. Oh, got you.
I, I could throw that in there, but you know what I'm saying? For sure, man. This the holiday season is here. Enjoy our time with our family, man. We appreciate the love and support. We appreciate all y'all checking in, subscribing to the YouTube channel, following us on our social medias. We really, really, really appreciate it. If if it weren't for y'all, liking and subscribing and watching and everything like that, we would maybe continue to do this. So we definitely appreciate that. You know, for Thanksgiving. Um, I know the game's a little weak this year.
Man.
It's a little weak this year. I
Oh,
understand.
it's tough.
I understand it's weak, but if you enjoy it, if you enjoy watching ball, man, watch it. If the games ain't on nothing, man, play some games with your family, man. Little spades. For the ones who like to play spades, the ones who don't know. Uh,
Just
do a
chill.
training session somewhere in the back
Yeah.
or just watch. Go play Uno or something. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is. Understand if you hear somebody hollering and yelling, that just means either somebody reneged or a lot of books was cut. That, that's really all you need to know. Um,
Yeah.
but enjoy yourselves. I just got what I don't know about you, bro. What's your one rule as far as food for Thanksgiving? What has to be on the menu?
No, bro. Sweet potato, bro. Sweet potato casserole, bro. Hey,
Okay.
hey, got to. I'm gonna let you know something, bro. Got to. And I need marshmallows with the pecans on. I need, bro.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, nah, bro. Yeah, I gotta have it. The sweet potato souffle, as we say. I gotta have it, bro.
Mac and cheese, baked,
Okay. You don't want that.
baked.
You don't want it in that pot.
No sir, baked. No, not no Kraft noodles. No. I need macaroni elbow noodles,
Yeah,
baked.
I feel
All
you.
right, get that roux going. Make that cheese sauce. Get that roux
Yeah.
going. Let baked mac and
I,
cheese,
Mac and cheese is easy. Like everybody gonna say that. But yeah,
baked,
I'm gonna go sweet potatoes for sure.
baked mac
The
and cheese.
dressing got to be on the plate.
For sure. Jerry Justin got to be there.
Yeah,
Cranberry sauce, no cranberry sauce.
I actually will indulge in the cranberry sauce.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I don't mind it. Either
I'm
one is
gonna
fine with
do
me.
one serving though. I ain't
Yeah,
going to two. I'm gonna get
yeah,
that one, then we good.
yeah,
Get that one, then we good for
for
sure.
sure, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. But man, yeah, man, y'all enjoy yourselves this holiday season, this Thanksgiving season. Be safe. If y'all going out doing all this shopping on Black Friday, y'all be safe out there too.
Please.
Um,
That
and all that good stuff, man. But yeah, we appreciate it, man. Keep liking and supporting the podcast. Like I said, yeah, we won't be on next week, due to Thanksgiving, but with 2 weeks from now, we'll definitely be back, man. So until the next time, this has been another episode of the Easy Money Sports Podcast.
peace.